I made it. I made it. I made it. Ah, what a morning. Okay, just took 15 minutes for all the technical difficulties to be worked out this morning, so that's good. The important thing is we're here, right? So we're here, we're all together. I have things to talk to you guys about.
I made it.
I gotta turn my. Okay, so first things first, the app. You guys have to, if you don't see the app, then you have not completely shut your Chromebook down. You have to completely log out of the Chromebook. You have to completely log out of everything and then log back in. So that means if you have not done that, if you're not seeing the app, you haven't logged out of your book, your Chromebook. You haven't logged out of your laptop, right? Because it's been there for weeks, they said. So, yes. One is, so you need to, after you've logged out of everything, you need to look in your app tray. I don't know what that is, but look in your app tray and then look for an app that says APES Secure Browser. Now, that's all I know about that. I don't know what any of those words really mean. Good morning, Logan. I just know that you need this app. You need to completely log out of your Chromebook to take your secure browser, to get your secure browser app to take your test. We are going to have the opportunity to take a practice mock exam, and it looks like you get to pick your date. I'm going to talk to my mentor today. They sent us an email yesterday about it, and it didn't say it. So the way I'm reading it is, it looks like we are. No, don't. Harry, I do not mean this is offensive. Don't listen to Harry. Harry is not like you all. First of all, he's in a different grade. Second of all, he's a BYOB. Stop with the what about Harry. Listen to what Miss Skimehorn says, which is log out of your book, your Chromebook, your whatever y'all call this box we're squawking on, and look for the app in the app tray. Now, I cannot help, as you all know. It just took me 15 minutes to figure out how to get this stupid thing to work, which I've had for years, so I cannot help you if you text me or email me and inundate me with, I can't find it. I don't know. Like, I can't help you with your computer problems when you're sitting in front of me. So I certainly cannot help you with your computer problems from your house, which is a different computer in a different scenario with a different situation. Like, I'm not your girl. So remember, you've got help desk. You've got Neil Hayden is your AP guidance counselor. And you've got a month. You've got a little more than a month. Will it not appear on our personal computers, or do we need to use our school Chromebooks? That's a great question that I don't know the answer to. So this is what I've been told to tell you to do. Davis County High School made sure to get the app that you need to do this. Now, if you go out on your own, or if you find the app, if you can get it on your Chromebook and then find the app on your computer, like I said, I think we're going to do a mock exam to make sure everything runs right. So if you want to monkey around with a different computer, then that's your choice. But you need to, let's see, what's Maggie saying? If you click sign out, then click apps in the bottom left-hand corner, and then click on the one that says College Board. Yes, that's it. Good girl, Maggie. So, like I said, if you pick a different device, that's on you. And we're going to try to practice. But this is not the fire that is currently before us. The fire that's currently before us is our content and continuing to drive forward. So, but that's, you guys all were flipping out about that yesterday, so I found your answer, and I need that to be sufficient for now. and then you guys kind of figure it out, together on your own without making my hands sweat. I'm having a little anxiety this morning, so I apologize. I'm a little crazy. So I'm trying to think if there was anything else. I am looking at, for us to take our mock exam on May 1st. Again, I'm fearful to talk to you guys about this because you're going to just ask more questions. That's going to make my anxiety increase, but I'm going to try. I'm looking at May 1st. That's like the last day before, it looks to me like a window's going to open up for you to take it at different times. So, yes, Dawson, the mock exam will be on the app. So that's what I meant. Well, we can practice this, right? So I'm looking at May 1st for us as a group. That's the last day you can take it. But I don't know a lot at this point about the specifics because Advanced Kentucky is the one that told me about this. And they didn't say if they were going to send you a link through AP Central, which is what I feel like they're going to do. But it didn't say. So I've got to get with my mentor and see what she thinks about all this. But in my head, it will most definitely be on the app because how else will AP Central get it and how else will AP Central test their own security? Because remember, that's what they're trying to do as well, is this is the first time any of us are doing this. So if you guys, I think that's what they're looking at, is they're looking to see what it looks like, see how much time it takes to download the information. You are going to have 25 minutes to do your first question, 5 minutes to upload, 15 minutes to do your second question, 5 minutes to upload. So you've got your hour worth of testing and then 10 minutes of upload. And that's how that's going to work. As far as I know, that's going to be the end of the discussion with AP, and that's every AP kid, and you guys are going to take them in 2-hour increments. So I don't know what day your AP Human Geography exam is on. I know it's before mine, but I think our time is 3 p.m. So they're going to have every 2 hours, they're going to have a different subject area across the nation dumping in 2-hour increments, right? So that's what they're looking to do. Okay, so today I was thinking about you guys, and I was thinking about, sending out a thing yesterday saying watch the hydroelectric on your own, because we're not going to watch it together because I don't want YouTube to freak out and see how slow things are. Luke says 3 p.m. Central, May 12th. That was May 18th. We'll have to look at that. But I do believe 3 p.m. is right. Okay. There's our Ford plant. Xander, did you find anything else out about your Ford plant, your awesome Fordness? Oh, for AP Hug, yes. I think we're 3 as well on May 18th. Okay. So, hydropower. Hydro means water, power means power, right? So you guys all know what hydropower means. There you go, Luke. Look at you, Johnny on the spot. Hydropower is any technology that uses the kinetic energy. Now let's just pause right there because we have a word, kinetic energy. So from middle school science, all middle school science teachers teach you certain basic things. And they teach you the mantra that kinetic energy is energy in, yes, motion. So, some people think, have the misconception that you just somehow magically get water to produce electricity, and that's not the case, right? You can't just jump in a ditch of standing water and get electrocuted. Well, I mean, I guess you could if there was like a line down or something, but the secret to hydropower is the kinetic energy. So the movement of water and getting that to do its thing. So look at all of these. I was typing your tests yesterday or day before, and you can see this is a futuristic, although I feel like most of this is kind of already happening. Look at different ways to grab a hold of hydropower. So it always begins with the sun. Remember, I mean, almost everything that we've talked about is dependent upon the sun. And I will forever remember my sweet little McLean County kids that were like, no, we can live without the sun. No, you can't. Like, you for real can't. So with the heat evaporating water, so that's a part of what cycle? Yes, water cycle, right? And they deposit it as rain, then it falls, then our rivers flow, then our oceans have tides. So all of this, notice, all of this is talking about the movement of water. So with hydropower, be sure that you are getting that it's water in motion. Now, this guy is so cool. And it was like, I don't know, one of the 7,000th videos that I watched. But he does two things. So I want you to pay attention when you watch this video on your own to two things that he does. One, he harnesses the power of flowing water, which is what's happening here. Micro hydropower generators is a concept of us, but this guy is literally doing it right in front of us. And he is, oh man, I wrote it down somewhere. I write things down and then I forget. He has, his whole purpose in life is to live in poverty-stricken places and teach people how to harness different natural capital without having to pay for it. So his whole thing here is he's going out and he is finding different streams and rivers that flow, that he can catch the flow, and then he takes apart a little motor and causes it like a little turbine in there to spin, and he generates electricity. And he goes through several different experimental designs because he's not generating enough. So this video, I'm pretty sure, talks about like net energy yield. Definitely goes through the scientific process, which you guys need to be up on, right? Because we're doing all of that. Let me sidetrack you for just a minute. They're also supposed to be putting out on YouTube. So if you've not been looking at YouTube for AP review videos, they're supposed to be putting out current review videos that are specifically designed for the scientific process. And then in the end, this guy is successful. So he takes you through different models and he takes you through different hurdles, and it's cool. Well worth your watch. And I love that you can just have these things floating pretty much anywhere and it's okay. Is it okay, Chad?
He hasn't responded.
Oh, okay. Well, now my back is sweating. It's fine.
He didn't answer his phone.
Right. So Bosman Science sums it all up. I think he talks about the tide and the wave and the everything. So be sure to watch that. All right. So what are some advantages and disadvantages of using wind power? I think you guys have different experiences with wind power. You guys have seen, some of you guys have seen these giants that are out in America, around other places. So I loved this picture that I found for you all because wind is our second fastest growing renewable energy resource. And if you look, starting at 1980, how small they are. So again, looking at the y-axis, you've got the hub height, and I'm ignorant on what the hub height means. I don't know if that means just the stick, or if that means the hub height is I would assume it is the arc of the, what am I trying to say? The wings? They're not called sticks. Oh, good, Xander. I'm glad you liked it. Oh, wait. No, it doesn't tell me what hub height is. Okay, so rotor diameter. So rotor diameter, I'm going to assume is this. And is the circular. So, again, I'm not sure about hub height. If that's the arc or if that's the stick that Oh, I'm sorry. I'm your teacher. The turbines are stuck to. So, if we start 1980, 1990, they are very small. And then you notice it progressively gets much faster. Rotors, is that what they're called? Propellers? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like, I can't believe I've done all this research on wind turbines, and I don't know what the blades, I bet they're called blades. Are called. So, sorry, I'm going to adjust this back again. So, this is the Washington Monument. So, we're not to 2030. But what I have learned, what I can tell you is that the goal is the bigger the wind turbine, the more energy it produces. So, it spins, and the bigger the spin, the more energy you produce. There was one, and I don't know if I included the video or not, but you get like one turn on this offshore wind turbine farm could do a house for 24 hours. So if you think about how many times it turns, just one, and this is in a farm, it's one house for one day. So that's pretty incredible. The giant turbines can generate more energy with fewer turbines and a lower land and ecological footprint than those with smaller turbines. Now, I saw all kinds of stuff, particularly with the offshore wind turbines, the offshore wind farms. Here, what I did not find an answer to, but I did find, was they're working on developing a floating wind farm, and I got nothing to say but bad, right? Well, thank you, Harry. I don't know what the axis is. Is that the dot in the middle? 115, you can look at the graph.
All is well, no problems.
Oh, good. What was wrong?
Didn't I just told him, hey, shoot us a text, tell us something. It's okay. He says, all is well, no problems. And you may get $1.25 for your performance.
Oh, sweet. Did y'all know I'm on the internet again? Chad, do you want to talk to the children?
No, let's see what they say.
So, my boss at the health park is like, do you have a private email where I can send you something? And I like have a small anxiety attack, like feel how sweaty my hands are.
You have.
And it's running down my back. I feel my back. Isn't that awful? It's awful. Like, I'm trying to focus on y'all, but I'm freaking out a little bit. Yeah, for Zumba. So Caleb Tidwell found it like first thing. I wasn't going to tell y'all a thing for obvious reasons about shaking my booty for money on the internet. Not things you want your science teacher to do. And so it has over 1,000 views. And did your mom do it, Xander? Did she like it? So yeah, yeah, you're missing it. They're giving you comments that Chad loves your comments. And I did it. I died laughing. Kaylee did do it. I will tell you, Kaylee did try to. I told the Kaylee crew that the only way I would allow them to watch it is if they tried to do it and then recorded themselves trying to do it and let me watch them try to do it. If you guys are gonna do it, so yeah. Yeah, oh, I'm telling you, it's a calorie killer. It really is. It's a lot. It's a lot of fun,
That's funny.
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm back on the internet. So that's what I was afraid. So I looked it up, and after you get 1,000 views, you may get $1. So I may get $1, y'all. Like, I may get paid.
You got no sponsor.
Oh, I'm sponsored. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Maybe Champion Ford will sponsor you.
Yeah, oh, Champion Ford. Yeah, I'll put champion across my chest. I'm a champion. Let's see. There's this one move that's my favorite. Me and Trevor are the masters at it. I will tell you, Trevor Church recorded himself and he sent it to me, and it's so funny. Like, I have not sincerely been thinking about you guys and how you're missing like your sports or whatever because you're freshmen, and I love you, but this is not as big of a deal as it is for you all because you're freshmen. And so but I do think that Trevor is a little different in a lot of ways, and I didn't think about like our other sports can just go out and do their thing still. But but Trevor can't swim. I think all the pools are shut down, and so I don't know if I have any other swimmers, or maybe. But I feel like you could hit golf balls out in your backyard. Like, they arrested some people for playing golf, and that's bad. We're getting a little power. Things are getting a little power crazy here, but I did not think about Trevor not being able to swim, and what does that do to Trevor? Like, I feel like he's hanging on by a thread some days, and if he can't swim, like, and I don't know that he could do anything else. But he's joined Strava, so we'll see. Trevor, get to running or something. It'll be good. It really is hilarious. I enjoyed it very much. It's drained. Wow. Okay. So, So I'm sorry I digressed. But I feel like you should hear it from me first. So this, let's talk about these wind turbines. Now, oh, good. So the cool thing I've learned about the ocean is, like, I first noticed it when I went to the Bahamas, and people would just dump what looked like, well, that's good, Xanders. So they for real did arrest some guys. So maybe your golfers can golf because it's private, maybe? I don't know. And I don't know that we're arresting people in Kentucky. Yet I cannot imagine Trevor being in a rant. You guys have got to think about the advice you're given. Like, first of all, I don't know that it's safe to just swim in a lake if you don't know what's in there. Gosh. Trevor swam in Water Moccasin Lake. Can't imagine how things went badly there. Yes, I agree, Ella. Way too cold. When we went to Washington State, they swim there in the lakes and the ocean, and it's very, very cold. Oh, Gabe, did you swim in Water Moccasin Lake? It's not good. Don't get in that water. I have a problem, y'all, with the water situation. So I can imagine. Oh, that's nice. So back to the Bahamas, when you just dump what appeared to, at first sight, it appeared to be junk, but what it was is it was like a lobster. See, Max, aren't you nice? I mean, getting the leeches off your body afterwards couldn't be that bad. Oh, it's so bad that Trevor's not watching this. That's unfortunate. So at first sight, it appears to be junk, but what it is it's a lot of times it's like a lobster trap, And so the fish are attracted to this, all of a sudden, this little ecosystem. And sure enough, then the lobsters come. So, with the sinking of the wind farms, I don't know what it's going to do to the sharks. I do know that it does create a different aquatic ecosystem there. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, the fish and the dolphins and they're all kind of in it together to diversify where they're living. So I don't know that it's going to necessarily hurt them. I worry about driving these posts down into the earth. I worry about them being mounted to the ocean. I worry more about that than I do the sharks, and maybe that's just ignorance. Now, maybe something that we would need to consider is the vibrations coming from these things and sonar and whales. Maybe sharks are as delicate as dolphins and whales are to that echolocation. If they are, I'm unaware. But that would be something to consider, is what kind of noise pollution are these turbines making in the ocean. But I feel like they're not going to run into them. I don't feel like we're going to have the sharks jumping up and chopping themselves to death like we could have them jumping up and down on the solar panels. So that can make the ocean animals act up, yeah. So, yes, for sure. Sonar's going to be bad for the whales. Sonar's going to be bad for the dolphins. I agree. So, with me, and I'm not an architecture person. I'm not an engineer. I had to take calculus-based physics 1 and 2, and it was terrible in college. So if I could just block all that out of my brain, I would appreciate it. But what I can tell you is, when you've got something really big up high in the air and it's loading, right, and you're floating, I feel like it may tip over if it's not anchored pretty well. So I don't know how I feel about the floating. Like I was researching. I got into some floating business stuff, and I just threw my hands up and pulled back because I thought, I'm getting into some crazy conversations here. So, best I can tell, let's keep them anchored. Things that we want to talk about. Things that we want to talk about for wind is that it's considered renewable, right? Because it's always blowing. The ocean makes a great place. One, just because you're not upsetting anybody's land space, right? So nobody should be living there. That's one perk. If you were to have to talk about a wind farm, right? So nobody's living there. 2, nothing's obstructing the wind coming off of the ocean. 3, winds come off the ocean consistently. So those are the perks to having something like a wind farm. Now, negatives would be, we don't all have oceanfront property. When we go to the ocean, we don't want to see this. We haven't done enough research on what a mass movement in this area is going to do to our aquatic environment, right? Like, what's it going to do to the whales? What's it going to do to the dolphins? I don't know. The whales and the dolphins are using sonar to, a lot of times, it's how they communicate. Does it affect them mentally? I would think it could, right? If you had something in your head all the time being like, like, I feel like that may mess with you a little bit. You're welcome. It could take away from their signals, right? Sound waves traveling through the ocean. It could combine. It could change the way they communicate. So I'm going to say a soft yes to that. Right. I would say confuse is probably straight up what my concern would be. Let's see. It's like a floating dock, and they're anchored, but they just go up and down based on the level of the water. Okay. Um, Wouldn't this also be taking up some of the water space for each country, like the 3 miles that we talked about? Yes. And you would definitely want it to be within those 3 miles, right? You would not want to stick your wind farm out there where another country could just roll up and tap into that guy, or cut it off. So there is a pipe that evidently travels all across the globe that carries all this information and such, and it's just running around the bottom of the ocean. I didn't know that was out there. That seems pretty scary. So we've already got stuff running across the bottom of the ocean, and it's already pushing some information and such, and I bet that there is some noise produced from that. So there may be a little bit of data, but it could be some, like deep state stuff that we're talking about. So solar is the fastest growing market, and wind is the second fastest. And what's this based on? I don't know. Sales? Your book. So, according to a 2009 study by the U.S. Department of Interior, the U.S. has enough wind potential to meet an estimated 16 to 22 times its current electricity needs. Wind farms off the Atlantic and Gulf Coast could generate enough electricity to more than replace all of the country's coal-fired plants. The first wind turbines to be installed off the coast of the United States were constructed over the past few days, about 3 miles off the shore of Block Island in Rhode Island. So, I did not deep dive on this. My questions are, if we can generate all this electricity, how does it get to me in Kentucky, right? Like the belt buckle of the Bible Belt. So, let's see. So, where are we at with this? I don't know. Harry, you can look it up if you wanna and tell us how Block Island in Rhode Island is affecting. Oh, my face is in the blocking of that right there. Is blocking how the wind turbines in Block Island are doing for us. Here's the cool thing. So, wind is abundant, it's widely distributed, it's inexhaustible, and I want you guys to try to do this. Like, I want you to be a good skateboarder. I don't want this to be your first time on a skateboard, but I think this looks super cool. I think some of you guys could pull this off. Let's see. Yes. It has a small land footprint. So, what they're talking about is the stick that goes into the ground. So they're saying that, and they're paying farmers big money to utilize their farmlands to do this. And the cows, and they're saying, what's it going to hurt? Just cows are going to grow around, so you can like double dip on your land. They don't need water for cooling, so we're not wasting it there. It has a high net energy. So if we were to apply full cost pricing, wind energy would be the cheapest way to produce electricity. So again, it's sounding like we're go, right? Landowners receive up to $10,000 a year in royalties for every turbine placed on their land. So look at that farmer. Look at that farmer. Right, so that's a lot. On an acre of land, it can produce $1,000 worth of ethanol for car fuel, or they can do wind turbines and produce $300,000 worth of electricity. So we're saying, and I don't know that the farmer's going to get the $300,000, but they could produce $300,000. So they're clearly, the people that are writing your book are like, this is the way to go. I watched a video. I could not post it because look, the lady and the man were so daggone whiny. I couldn't. So they moved next to a wind farm, and the thing that I didn't think about was, as the turbine goes past your windows in between you and the sun, there's a flicker. And so it's like a constant flicker in your house. Like, I had to stop doing that in front of my eyes just then because it became a bit obnoxious. So it never stops. and that begins to affect your psyche. And then there's a low hum that they have all these ENTs that have all, audiologists have all gone on board and said that these wind turbines produce a hum that is not detectable. Like you don't hear it like, oh, there it is, but it's detectable. So your ears are still responding to it, and it stops the people who are hearing it 24 hours a day from entering REM sleep. So like this particular couple had like built their dream home, and then the wind turbines came in second. So the answer that the wind company had was they were going to give them the price of their home, the value of their home that they built with their own two hands. This is their dream home, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, Chad and I watched it and we were like, we'll take the money and go. Like, clearly it's not your dream home anymore. We built our dream home once, and guess what? Terrible things happened there, and we moved, and now we live here, right? So, like, dream homes come and go. This lady was like looking crazy. So, if you can't sleep, if it's constantly humming, the amount of noise in the winter, which should make sense, right? Because molecules condense when they're cooled. So the noise is going to travel faster in the cold, is more intense in the winter. And then I got on YouTube and I was looking for all of these videos about like how loud is it really? And everything I found on YouTube was like, it's no louder than a car driving by. So I thought, well, that's not very impressive. But I guess if you had that noise of a car driving by nonstop in your house 24 hours a day, that may be bad, right? So they could potentially, close their blinds, all that stuff. They didn't appear to Chad and I to really want a solution. So they just made me mad, and I'm not going to post that. But it does appear to be a real thing. So areas with the greatest wind power potential are often sparsely populated and located far from cities, which again means how are you going to get it to me, right? This is the problem. The wind turbine is here, but I am way over here. So how are you going to get it to me? Thus, to take advantage of the potential for electricity from wind energy, the U.S. and other countries will have to invest in upgrading and expanding their outdated electrical grids or convert to a smart grid. Okay, let's talk about smart grid for something, because I'm not very smart about smart grids. I'd never heard of a smart grid before this chapter, so I had to do a little digging, and it sounds like it is, instead of like there being a huge grid where you can cut the line and it cuts exposure to everybody to get electricity beyond it, it sounds like it's more... I'm going to say through the air. And so you can direct and divert and control, and it's like smaller. So you can't knock out like a whole city block, or maybe you can, I don't know. I mean, oh God, guys, me talking about the engineering of an electrical grid, physics nightmares. So smart grids, they're saying, is the wave of the future. But the problem is, so does anybody have any trouble with the electricity that's wired to your house right now? No. So you want us to get rid of everything that's working to go to this. See what I'm saying? So that's part of our problem, is dumping all of the old to bring in the new. And who can do that? I don't know that I could. To rewire a house, it's very, 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 very expensive. So smart grid, that's a thing. That's one of your vocab words, I think. The winds can die down, right? If you're not out on the ocean for real, it can for real die down. All right, the birds and the bats, y'all. So this is a little bit of the sonar thing that I was talking about. And there's two things that I need to show you with this. So the first is the birds kill, there's 100,000 birds killed. So they just fly into it, right? Feathers flying. When we first moved into our house, our second floor, in our living room, it's all glass, right? So Ace, let's see, 9, 10 years old, he looks out the window and he goes, "Hey, Mom, it looks like it's snowing out there." we have these red-tailed hawks that nest above my deck, and they had got a bird and were like plucking it, like he was just freaking going to town. So it was just like snowing feathers right outside my window. Now, the other cool thing about the red-tailed hawks, not cool thing, so I like to sit out on my back porch in the mornings in the summer and read my Bible or a devotional or something, and it's peaceful and it's calm and it's cool and it's lovely. And so I'm out there, and all of a sudden, a bird poop like just lands next to my chair, and I'm like, what the heck? I had no idea we had hawks at this point. And so then, like, I just keep reading. I was like, Satan, is that you? You know, like, you know how when you're trying to do one thing and then you get all these hurdles thrown in your path. And so so I'm sitting there and I keep reading it. I'm talking like a huge, like, think $50 globule of feces comes wailing down. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So the next thing you know, I'm under the awning of the house, like trying to figure out what kind of like murder is going on over my head, that they are like literally earth is trying to poop on my forehead. And so I can't figure it out. And I, call it a day. And then the next day I go out and they're pooping again. I cannot figure out. Well, here's the thing. And you guys may have heard me say this. Don't poop in your own nest. Like, there's a reason why us country folks say things like, don't go pooping in your own nest. Birds are smart. They will not poop in their own nest because poop makes you sick. Like, it is terrible that we have cities in America that have made it legal to poop in our nest because poop makes you sick. So the bird, like, I saw the little hawk, and like, here's the edge of the nest, and you'd see him stick his little butthole over the side of the nest, and he'd go and poop right over the side of the nest. Don't poop in your own nest. I was like, oh my gosh, I understand now. So I was like, there are birds up there pooping on me. This is terrible. Of course, I go tell Chad there's nothing he can do about it. And so I'm laying there one day. I mean, I'm not laying there. I'm sitting in my chair one day, and a full-blown freaking leg, squirrel leg, funk, right next to my chair. You know that those freaking birds were up there like, dude, you missed her, but you're getting close, And they were like scooting their butthole out to like see if they could really get me. But one of them launched a half-eaten dead leg at me. It was so scary. That's when I figured out these were not bluebirds. These were not like robins. No finches. No, these were raptors. So, and they were big enough to eat squirrels at this point. So, anyway, so not like that, right? The 440,000 birds is not that big of a deal when you consider, and that's what all these environmentalists are going to tell you is not that big of a deal. But then I did a little bit of a deep dive on the bat situation. It's a totally different thing. So, wait a minute, let me see. Angler said that fishing improves with the Block Island wind. Oh, that's interesting. Well, why not have an estate with hybrid power? We have those there. Oh, okay. That's cool, Caleb. Birds being fried on solar panels. I don't know. I haven't heard of that. That and the sharks, man. So there is this bat situation. So with the bats, right? They couldn't figure out what was going on. And it says about 90% of the bats killed near turbines in a recent study show signs of internal hemorrhaging caused by quick changes in air pressure called barotrauma. So the barometric pressure changes so quickly, they have internal hemorrhaging, and they kind of like internally explode. So you just find these bats that are completely like, there's all these videos. If you guys want to look up barotrauma or barotrauma, and there's perfect bats, and they're just, right? And then the turning turbines create low pressure areas near the tips of the blades, and when the bat flies near this area, the air in its lungs is at a higher pressure than the surrounding air. It expands and can rupture tiny vessels around the lungs, and in effect, it makes the bat's lungs explode. and they liken this to a scuba diver. So when scuba divers get the bends, when they ascend too quickly, it doesn't allow the pressure in the vessels to adjust, and so it can't, like, the bends can be so severe that you can die from them. So the birds don't have the same problem. Their lungs are different than those of mammals. So the birds and the bats, that's like they kind of lump them together. Like your book just lumped it together. If I hadn't have done a little deep diving, I would not have known about the bat situation. Because it just reads like, oh, well, birds and bats, 440,000, like that. I mean, we've got that in the backyard tree, right? But it is different. So let me look at, Harry's telling us offshore turbines will generate energy for the coastal cities, right? Yes, for sure. And here's the thing. If we just had the wind turbines feeding the exterior of the United States, which is where we're most populated anyway, it would still decrease our fossil fuel usage, right? Like, even if those of us on the belt buckle stayed the way we were, it would still decrease. So I think that's a win. So this is, this Dr. Christopher Hanning is, this was about as reputable as a source as I could find. And this, I think this is a man. He for real comes right out and says you can't live near them. Like, it's too much for you to endure. So this is symptoms of chronic exposure to the noise pollution. And I don't know. Like, this is the Screaming Man or whatever that art is. Sometimes I try to be artistic, right? But they talk about all of these things. Visual pollution, I think, is kind of like a silly thing to say. But I do appreciate that, that landscape may not be beautiful for everybody to look at. I feel like if it saves a bunch of stuff and you're looking at turbines instead of dirt, that's a fair trade-off. So just the visual aesthetics of an area is not a good enough argument for me. But this freaking, like, I can't sleep, no REM sleep, I'm, like, seeing dead people, all that, that's where we got to stop. Oh, and on that note, right? So that wasn't bad. Now, please remember that you do have a video, a for real video to watch, and I would watch it with your notes out, and really try to consume it, because I just looked at it like, this is just such a huge. If I had done all the. I'm going to look back today about the wind turbines being the Saudi Arabia of America. I want to do a little bit more of a deep dive into that. That's the only thing that I didn't get to cover with this. And I feel like that they're just talking about, how much coastal region we have to maximize the wind turbines' efficiencies. But that's probably the only thing I didn't get to with this. But it's just a lot. It's just a lot. So I didn't hear anything from anybody yesterday about problems with the quiz, so that's good. I wrote the test and went through and quintuple checked, and every question has an answer, and I think every answer is right. And so here's hoping for that. But again, if it is not, then we'll talk about that next week when you take your test. But we don't all need to email. Because Miss Skimehorn, she has some anxiety issues. Let's see. Breaking winds can also slow down the hurricanes. I love that. Why not have solar in the inside? Oh, I see what you're saying. In the inside of the United States. So, I don't know. I mean, yes. Like, solar is the number one growing renewable energy resource, and wind is the second. So I feel like we're making a play here, but and the other thing I need to tell you is when our wind turbines, see if this sounds familiar, when our wind turbines expire, I found a video, I hope I put it in there, where this lady, she climbs and she maintains the wind turbines to keep them from falling apart. But when they go down, there's nowhere we can put them. So it's just like the solar panels. We're having the same problem with wind, is what do we do with them when we're done with them? And we don't have an answer for that yet. So that's the problem, is this is a great option. Let's think it through before we have more mess that we don't know what to do with. So that's another problem with wind. And I don't know if they didn't know about that when they wrote your book. We'll just assume they didn't. And so the best, like at this point, their best solution is they're just doing the same thing they're doing with the solar panels. They're just laying them out in places. Like the landfills won't take it, like the solar panels. And they're trying to chop up the blades and put them together like nesting dolls, because the blades are huge. Like I said, one of the videos, I'm pretty sure, I don't know why they're not recyclable. But there's got to be a reason for that. Here's the thing, and this is Miss Skimehorn talking. I'm definitely not an engineer. It's got to be with the durability of the material, right? You cannot throw something up in the air that big, that powerful, that heavy, and it not be dang tough. Like, almost indestructible. You can't have something that has a bird flying at it. I mean, think about it. A bird flying at your house that isn't moving, and it feels like a bomb just hit your house. So, like a big bird flies into one of these, and you've just sent this thing. They're bigger than multiple buses. They're huge. So they are built out of some seriously big stuff. Kaylee says, like, it would obviously be different from the Hoover Dam, but we put in a valley and had these propellers. Yeah, like that's the thing. The fear of, so we've got to figure out how to have a way to recycle the materials of the wind turbines that's efficient, right? Because if it's like glass and it takes more energy to recycle it, then that's no bueno. Well, I think what Kaylee is saying is when you go to the Hoover Dam, there's just open desert that you could put the propellers to catch the wind. And then, so we've got to build them out of strong things. We've got to build them out of recyclable things. We've got to find a way to deal with what we've already built. I would prefer if we stopped building things just thinking that we're going to fix it later. I would love for us to be able to build something and we already know what we're fixing. So that would be really nice. Okay, so that's all I have for you for today. Tomorrow is... What's tomorrow?
Friday.
Oh my gosh, tomorrow's Friday. How exciting. So tomorrow we will take our second quiz, which is, right? Yeah. I think that's what I said. Yeah, tomorrow I won't lecture. I'll just give you guys the second vocab quiz. And that's all you'll have to do on Friday. And then on Monday, we'll do 16.5. Let's see if I can. I've got a runny nose. I apologize. Must have caught the Rona. I assume they saw you. I don't know. I can't see my. Hi, Sissy. Honey, I'm kind of doing a thing here.
Just put it in your lap for you.
Don't leave that like that. Get her.
Sorry.
Ah.
I thought it would be a good idea. don't know why I did.
I don't either. All right, so 16.5. And we'll do 16.5 on Monday. Let's just leave it at that. Like we got 16.6. I can't wait for you guys to see 16.7, 16.8. So tomorrow, all we will do is our second vocab quiz, and that will give you guys kind of a break for a nice 3-day weekend and revive your spirits. And we'll head towards chapter 7 next. Okay, let's see. Harry says, hello, Ace. Do we have hydropower in the Ohio and the Mississippi River? Yes, to a certain degree we have dams and those things, but I don't think it's a huge part of our grid. If not, why don't we do that to eliminate the belt buckle cities? Okay, like inside the engine there is this fan thingy, and if we make it bigger, then we put it in the valley and it would catch all the wind. Yes. Oh, okay. It's okay, Kaylee. So, these are, yes, all good thoughts, all good thoughts. So, to rehash, vocab quiz tomorrow. Then on Monday we will list lecture. So it's looking like you've got lecture Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe test Thursday. 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe test Friday. Okay. So, I think there's one in Newburgh, probably. I mean, like there's a dam in Calhoun that has all the turbines under the dam, and so I think that's a thing. It's just the bulk of our electricity comes from coal at this point. Sure does. Sure enough. All right, my loves. So, it's been a pleasure doing business with you. I hope my family has a good afternoon, and nobody tell Trevor about the video, and he'll never know. And and that, you know, and that's all we got going on. So, until Monday, Kaylee. So until Monday, my family, I will see you then.